Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Computer Wednesday. In today's episode, we're gonna continue our saga of do it yourself. And since in last episode we looked at Raspberry Pi, in today's episode we're gonna take a look at do it yourself network router. So let's dive right into it. So what the heck is a router? One very simple thing. It is the only thing that makes your local area network possible. As in, when you have in your home multiple devices connecting to a single internet system, as in, like, let's say you have a cable company providing you the internet, or mobile phone company providing you the internet, or you have optical line coming into your home, and router is the only thing that makes it possible from one input and output that you have to World Wide Web to connect to your local system, where you have multiple mobile phone, multiple TV, a smart refrigerator, or whatever have you. So this is the device that makes it possible. Now, to understand this well, like, there you must have seen switches and other things, hubs and all that. So all you have to understand, this is like a traffic controller. If done correctly, if built with proper specification, it helps you to optimize your networks in such a way that there is no congestion. You don't have a network interacting with each other, causing interference. So that way you can properly use your switch. So generally router is the one that is telling switches how to operate, because switches can easily connect from one computer to another computer, but one computer to internet, a router is like, okay, let me take care of it. So think of it as a traffic police. It's like handling all the thing. Nowadays, whenever you think of router, you generally think in this regard, like, this sort of thing, one box with multiple antenna. Now that is a complete package. Some of them have modem, router, switch, wireless access point built into them. That's one nowadays common with our, whenever you go to a shop and you say give me a router, that's what they are giving you. It's a complete package. So modem is not necessary in every single one of them, but you will easily get so that's why if you don't have a basically modem based router, the router you have will say WAN port, basically worldwide network. So connecting in that way, you can directly give your access to the whole network. This is generally done if you have a cable router. These company can't build a cable router, like they can, but because the network changes country to country, there is no standardization. For that reason, they have to, they have to trust you. So like, if you get your internet, they will simply route it to your home. So what is the problem? Why the heck do you want to build your own? One very simple reason. The router that you see, because it has so many components, is generally built as cheaply as possible. So if you go to an enterprise or even a small business, as I'm talking about, like 100 workers, these sort of infrastructure flat out will not work. There is a reason. Whenever you go to like McDonald's or Domino's, where you can see like a lot of small points sticking out everywhere, those are generally wireless access points. There is a reason for them. Not only they are cheaper and properly configurable, they also allow redundancy. So when you go to a infrastructure, you cannot have a scenario where if one device fails, a entire network goes down. So for that reason, in many infrastructure grade equipments generally will have two modems, two routers, multiple switches, multiple redundancy with multiple power supplies, to make sure that no single point of failure happens. Now imagine, contrast that to your home. You have just one router controlling like 7 to 8 devices. If one of those things goes down, as in, like, your router goes down, you dead. So that is not acceptable for large scale, or if you are running a cyber cafe or you're running a small business, you can risk it, but it is unwise. So for that reason, the components built into your router that has all-in-one is generally not very good. It's like the cheapest they could find. Then second, it's not custom to you. Let's say you don't need basically, let's say, Ethernet. For safety reasons, you want to make sure you're properly encrypted and secure. Best way to do that is using Ethernet, because nobody can eavesdrop in Ethernet unless they directly tap the wire. And even in that scenario, you can easily detect it, like the wire has been tapped. There are some advanced tools that allow you to do that, but point being, it is much more secure than Wi-Fi. It always will be more secure than Wi-Fi, simply because if somebody is like directly tapping in your office, like, okay, going to the panel and directly connecting something, you can see it. Like in Wi-Fi, you can't see it. Let's say somebody walked into your office and just have a mobile phone that is running the hacking software, you wouldn't notice it. So the fact it's not custom means it's one for all. Basically, is jack of all trade but master of none. So if you want to manage multiple, let's say just printers, it's unwise to use a router, router that you find in the market, because it does not have a lot of fail safes that a router specifically targeted for printers will have, like to make sure that only one printer prints the same document, not end up with if you send documents where it's like, okay, print 5 copies, it will print one on one. Or sometimes you may want that, sometimes you may want one manager is sending data to 5 sub managers. You want to make sure that one data is cloned in all those scenarios. Normal routers will not allow you to do that. You need custom router settings for that. For this reason, this all-in-one approach is very vague. It will generally work, like if you are low budget, this will work, but this is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Now the final reason why the heck companies even bother with making their own setup is simply because security and control. As I already told you, like if you try to do this, send one file to multiple people, there are many ways to do it. Now each of those way will come with pro and cons. Now let's say you want to make sure the file that you are sending is confidential. No matter what happens, it should not go through your Wi-Fi network. Try setting that in your router. You can't. You simply can't. Like normal routers does not have that kind of feature. High-end one, those who cost like $500 to $50,000, yes, they have that function, but normal router does not come with that. Now MI has been making some good router which has good software. Basically this is software kind of thing where you can control this sort of thing, but that cannot allow you to build a firewall. That does not allow you to build basically a login database where you are logging entire data, as in years worth of data, as in terms of multiple computer creating entire log file. So these sort of advanced function is needed in enterprise environment. If you want to be secure, if you want to be safe, you need this sort of security. It's much easier to filter the network traffic while it's coming into your network before it goes to every computer, because once the whole computer is getting infected, you can't figure it out. You have to format every single computer. But if you have a very good firewall, it prevents basic intrusions. And some routers are so advanced, they have artificial intelligence built into that, because recently everybody started using what we call encrypted packets. So router cannot read it, but router can still get tell, okay, you are encrypted package, I do not know what is in you, but I know where you are going. So using that knowledge that it knows where to route it to, it can figure out whether this is a behavior of a virus or this is a behavior of a basically this is Windows update or this is a Steam update, but this is I do not know. So it can put it in yellow zone, send an alert like something fishy is going on. If it's okay, no, technician will simply say green light it. If it's dangerous, you can look into it. So these sort of advanced function can be only done if you have a custom tool. So you go to Siemens headquarters, they don't have normal Siemens router that is sold for public use. They have custom built hardware. Same goes for Dell, same goes for D-Link and all that. So for this reason, there are severe limitation with this. So as you can see, this is the switch, this is the wireless access point, and enterprise grade generally network generally runs on fiber optics. So you will have modem like this. So this cannot be standardized. For this reason, people like not all-in-one approach. So what is PF Sence? Now, as in my last episode, I talked about how Raspberry Pi caused a revolution. This is a much lower version of that. Basically, PF Sence is Unix-based OpenBDS system. Basically, that's the operating system, and PF Sence is on top of that is a custom platform, basically. So you install PF Sence on your computer, old computer, new computer, old laptop, new laptop. There are custom. This is so successful, PF Sence, that many enterprise grade can nowadays Netgear is investing a lot into this. So you can directly go to Netgear and buy a PF Sence router from them, and they will support it. So if your router goes down, you can call them up and they will try to fix it. So PF Sence is generally, before PF Sence, this sort of thing was done, but only problem was that let's say Siemens have their own programming language to deal with, Cisco has their own programming language to deal with, their own infrastructure, their own things. So this sort of scenario consolidated all of them. Basically PF Sence allowed what those people do, like on the ultra high end, to be available to consumer. Now this is really good because nowadays, from earlier days, if you wanted this sort of router where you can do firewall protection, where you can do intrusion detection, where you can have advanced features, those router used to cost like $50,000. Now these only $5,000 to $10,000. Now why that cheap? Simply because the operating system has been taken care of by the developer community. Basically it's not a single man doing this. There are like 2-3 people started this, then more people jumped in, and right now this operating system is efficient, elegant, so successful that there are hardware specifically built for a router application like this, and Netgear is also selling them. Other companies also make them, that you can just put in your server room, basically a server rack, and just forget about it. It has redundant power supply, redundant basically ECC RAM and advanced network attached storage system. So all those sort of scenario, the fact that it's free and open source means that if you are a company, let's say you don't have as high budget as Cisco or Siemens, but you have high enough budget that you can hire some programmer. Because it's open source, you can take that PF Sence and code it very specifically. Like, I want this specific type of intrusion detection, I want this firewall, I want to make sure that people can access the internet but they cannot access torrents. So there are a lot of ways to do this. For common people like you and I, PF Sence also has what we call plugins. In that plugin, there are many packages that you can install, and each of them will give you advanced functions like you can have a login function, you can have a firewall encryption. There is basically a catalog of block sites which is continuously updated. So the moment a new address is created, and somebody detects this is a malicious network address, before your computer can even access that malicious network address, this will stop it. That's why these are so effective. That's why people invest so much money into that. Like, before it goes to your computer, it stops it. And you might be like, okay, wouldn't virus infect these itself? No, viruses are very platform specific unless they are built for hardware, and even in that scenario, it cannot jump from one to another. So unless somebody writes a very specific virus to infect PF Sence, it's not gonna do. And not to mention how they are operated, like how they are made in software ways. They have many what we call isolated circuits. So one packet of data cannot jump to another. So like, it's not impossible, but to break this sort of system, you have to be so high level that you wouldn't be wasting time trying to break this. This will be like solving a Rubik's cube to you. So you will be like hacking Pentagon or working for them. So in those sort of scenario, this provides a very good security, and this is enterprise grade. This is not something that you can be like, okay, just a few nerds do this. This is enterprise grade. And to access it, control it, you don't need a keyboard monitor right here. It does support what we call web-based basically interface, more or less like your same router. So why the heck you should do it? One simple tool. Like, let's say you are an engineering student or a network student, or you are simply nerd of your family and you want to improve your skill, like in real world. This is a perfect learning tool. Like, think of it this way: if you buy a router and you have very high bandwidth data coming in, like when I was in Bangalore, I had access to 150 Mbps of data going in and out. Now my router could only support 100 Mbps, but here's the deal: if I try to connect 10 people from my router to 10 people, not each of them will get 10 Mbps, and my router will slow down so badly that on each device I will barely get 2-3 Mbps. Not because the internet has slowed down, simply because router was struggling to send data forward to all of this. For this reason, enterprise grade router generally have a very high end processor, and many times you will see people saying build your router from old computers, simply because the components that are in your normal consumer grade routers, they are very low end. They are like mobile grade processor. To make a very high end one, to make sure that, let's say you are having 100 Mbps coming in, you can distribute to that enough people. For that reason, you need a traffic police that can handle that kind of load, where you have multiple people draining from it. For that reason, building this is compulsory. Like there is no network device that bridges the gap between one user to 50 users. Like there are solutions you can buy for more than 50 users, used for schools and office. But let's say you have small business, this is the only option you can have, especially if you have a high bandwidth coming into your home. Like right now, if you have some connection like I used to have 100 Mbps, you try to route 100 Mbps from normal router, you can't route it to many people. And not to mention, the more people you add, the slower network becomes. Not because the internet is slow, simply because router is like, taking longer to route packets, and each of them is started doing torrenting. Good luck. So for this reason, this is a very big performance improvement. There are custom tools that are built for this, but not only they are expensive, they are also targeted at very high end. So PF Sence kind of feels a very good niche here. Basically, like if you want to start and if you want to do it in your home, you can buy something that small, like which is the size of a mouse, like more or less same size as Raspberry Pi, but it has better processor. And you can start your PF Sence networking. And if you want to build, like you have an old PC laying around which is not doing anything, you can do this. You build your own system, and just all you have to do is basically remove the hard drive, replace it with SSD, so you have reduced the power consumption and reduce the point of failure, and you're good to go. So performance really starts to show in, especially if you have good internet coming in and you have multiple devices simultaneously working. So that's why I will urge you to, before you jump into this, make sure how many people you have working. Like if you have 50 devices but only you are the one using it all, it's one user will not make a difference. But if you have 5 users, 10 users, 20 users, this becomes compulsory, and it will really show like, oh, now my internet is fast. And advanced functions allows you to do what we call network caching. Basically, that's why people put big hard drives into this. You can put normal SATA hard drive, you can put RAID arrays, big things basically. So let's say, imagine you are running a game parlor and somebody came the first client that came in and it started working, and it's like, okay, I launch Steam sent a package, update. Now that update will be stored here. So every time somebody else is opening the Steam and updating it, the file will come from the hard drive, not from network. That way your network is also clear. This is very useful. You can do this for Windows update, antivirus update, or things of that nature. You can manually configure it or let it figure it out. So these sort of advanced function is only possible with this. And safety wise, because you can specifically categorize it, you control the safety. It's not a generic tool where if somebody pressed a button, reset it, and now the password has gone to admin. That will not happen on these puppies. So for this reason, safety wise, it's undeniably very good. Like, no safety is flawless, nothing is unbreachable, but it can make it damn near impossible for a newbies to do it, and advanced hacker will not bother with this. So this niche market can be easily served with this. So this was my presentation on do-it-yourself networking, basically PF Sence. So I hope you liked it or learned from it. In that case, please leave a like. If you didn't, don't worry about it, you can dislike it. I would urge you to leave a comment what you want to see in the next episode of Computer Wednesday. And as always, please subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.